Hey, it's Dave Knight here at 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Sometimes you just feel like all I say is blah, 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 and more blah. Um, that's how I feel. Although, today I finished up 75 ticks. That's 7 with a 5, or $750. I started a brand new combine. It's the so if you think about where I am right now, I'm 350 in. So 150, right? 150, 100, and 100. That's what 203. Yeah, 350. I'm 350 in. Is 350 better spent than losing $2,000? Yes. So that's where I am in my life right now. So I can't tell you how to trade your account. Now I can show you how I trade and how I attack the markets, but should you have a $5,000 account and go for it, or should you be a top step trader? Me personally, until I can control my patience and my discipline better and know for a fact that 99.999% of the time that I will be patient and disciplined in my trading, it's a good environment for me right now. Because I know on the 30K combine and the new rules that I can hit that $1,500 target. Doesn't matter. And now with FTP taking as many days as you need to get to that 1,500, it doesn't matter. So I know that once I can control, like yesterday we talked about the exorcism of your demons in your day trading. Today, I guess it worked, or at least I was able to see the markets more clearly. I've been seeing the markets clear, but I have been wasting my ammo before the market has made its move in the direction of wherever the hell it wants to go. Today, I kind of want to read my notes to you, my day trading thoughts here, because it probably expresses how I was feeling at the time of trade today. I'm going to put obviously the blog post in the video of my winning trade that I was able to capture. I had 3 trades prior for 81 ticks, and then I gave up 6 to finish up 75 ticks. I thought maybe we would take one more shot at the $5,400 level. It did not work out. I waited for the market to come down below the pivot. I don't show that on the video, the trading video, but I waited for it to come below pivot, come back up over pivot, actually show some volume on the buy side, and then I came in and it looked kind of like it would do something, but there just wasn't enough oomph and momentum in the market. So I moved my stop up to protect the position, and I got out at -6 on that trade and finished up 81 ticks. I don't believe I talked about that in here, but here's my thoughts from February 3rd, Friday, February 3rd, 2017. My day trading thoughts. The only HVS bar was red so far and there was a 1657 bar at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, CST. Now HVS in my shorthand means high volume spike. This means that the long is more apt than the short, although the market can fall twice or 3 times as fast as it can go up. We were trading at the pivot point today. Ralph Nelson Elliott would tell me to wait for a proper long setup before getting long. It's okay to be out at break even on a trade that should be going the other way when I decide to fade it. For example, going short when the true signal is to be long. Now let me explain that. My very first trade, if you watch the video, was a short trade. I took the fade off of the red bar volume to come in off of a short. It went down and then it came back up, and then I was able to get out at break even +1. And the reason I went out at break even and didn't wait for a 1p profit target on that short is that the highest volume bar was red, and since it looked like it failed, I went to break even and got out. And I was looking, honestly, I was looking for a long setup anyway. So I thought that maybe we could fall, 2 or 3p profit before, and if it wanted to continue forward, I would just trail behind it. All right. So I believe a move back to break point or break even point, or excuse me, I believe a move back to the pivot point is an A plus trade when there is enough room for profit to get to it. And what do I mean by that? Enough room for profit to get to it. Today, I measured 1P at 16.3, so rounds up to roughly 17. When I came in the trade at 59, and I believe pivot was at 78, is 59, 53, 59, do I have at least 17 ticks available? I mean, real quick, you can figure out that it's 59, 69, 79. That's 20 ticks. It was at 17 and at 78. So yeah, there was enough room to make an A plus trade out of it to catch it up to at least the pivot point. And then I said, how do I feel right now? I feel that I have taken the correct trading position on, and now I was long. I was long at 59, and I think I got long on a second contract when it crossed up over the 200 bar SMA line. The second time I got long at 65 on the other. But wondering about timing, is there another rundown before up? Also, the longer a trade takes to get to at least 1p of profit, the more apt that it will retrace as well, especially when long. Today, the true signal is to be long until proven incorrect, wrong. There is a RBV HVB. Now what that means to me is red bar volume, high volume bar. So that 1657 bar is the highest volume bar across the session right now. So when I saw red and it's the highest volume bar, now later in the session after it moves up over the 5422 mark, before it gets there, there's this high blue bar volume that comes in at 29.56 at 9:19 a.m. Central Standard Time. Then the highest volume bar I would say is BBV HVB. So if you see the markets and how I put the marking on it on one of the charts, it'll say BBV HVB. That stands for blue bar volume, highest volume bar. The volume, in other words, turned from being more long into being more short until proven otherwise. I was long at that point, but I recognized that the market could be done going up at that point as well. All right, so the RBV HVB above that calls for a long position, it may stop me out, but it is the correct trade to put on according to my own trading plan. Will the market play right today? Now, I'm writing all this before the market moves up over pivot and moves up to 54.22. So adding the second contract in a position of strength using the 200 bar SMA is my thought process on the long side of day trading. So what I did is the 200 bar was crossing under prices and the pivot was there. It went up, came back down, went up, and then that second time it come up and through. I noticed that's a pretty good spot to add a contract. There seemed to be some measure of strength, and I believe the market would at least move to the pivot point at that point, according to what I believe is called PPM, pivot point magnetism. That's something that I coined. Looks like we could have a big up move back to highs today. Only one shot with and then this was later in the session. So later in the session, I said that after I had 81 ticks of profit. When I took that last trade on, the fourth trade of the session that I didn't show on the trading session, the -6 that got me to 75 ticks. I said 71 ticks is still really good. So I had 81 ticks. I had a 10 tick stop loss on it originally. I moved up to -6 from minor support in the market and underneath the pivot point line. I figured if it fall under pivot, it was going to come down at some point. It hadn't shown the market, at least the last couple of days, that once it crossed over the pivot, wouldn't come back down again. Today, using the previous days and what happened as a barometer of what could happen today, I put it right below that pivot. It took it out. I was out. I was done. I took my kid out to lunch today. We went to King's Family Restaurant. We both had double cheeseburgers and soup and sat there, and I talked with them and just had a good father-son discussion at that point, or dad-son. And then I went and did the honey-do list that I have on a Friday to get knocked out some of the things, and had to do some shopping to get ready for the Super Bowl on Sunday. And I don't want to talk too much about that because my beloved Steelers got their asses kicked by the New England Patriots. You know what? Tom Brady is Deflategate. Say what you want about him. He is one hell of a quarterback. Any team that's ever faced him in a zone defense. In fact, one of the comedians here in our local, he's called the Pittsburgh Dad, and you may or may not know of him. Just search for Pittsburgh Dad on YouTube. But his term that he coined, well, maybe he didn't coin it, but it was just funny the way he put it. He called the Steelers defense the no defense defense. That's what they look like on the Sunday prior. They look like the no defense defense. He picked apart the Steelers' zone defense like it was his job. And Ben just doesn't have a very good history against Brady. And the Steelers as a franchise do not have a good record recently. At least when I say recently, I'm talking about since the Brady era in New England. So New England is extremely hard to beat in New England. I figured it was going to have to go through New England to beat, and I felt, that's what needed to happen, that the Steelers needed to go up to New England, beat them to warrant the title of Super Bowl champions. The only way that you can call yourself the champion is to beat the champion. And in my humble opinion, Brady's the top of the pack. I mean, he's getting ready, most likely with Belichick having 2 weeks to prepare against Atlanta, they'll take away Atlanta's best option, which will be Julio Jones to them. They'll take him away. They'll eliminate him, just like they did to the Steelers and Antonio Brown. They'll eliminate that option for the quarterback of Atlanta. Guaranteed that's who they'll take away. And then outside of that, Brady, if Atlanta decides defensively, they've already proven that the defense can't keep another offense off the field and keep them from scoring. So it's going to come down to, can Atlanta score enough points to beat New England? That's what it's going to be about, because New England's defense is pretty damn good. So defense, they say offense scores points, but defense wins championships. If I put a bet on it, I would put the Patriots to win by at least 7 to 10 points. That would be my bet right now. All right, that's all. Although I'm from the Tennessee area, and I grew up as an Atlanta Falcons fan, so I'd love to see Atlanta win that game. I really would. I'd like to see Matt Ryan be able to take the Falcons to the Super Bowl and get their very first Super Bowl win. That would make me very happy, in that sense, that Atlanta beat New England. And it's kind of like when I'm a Tennessee Volunteer fan, by the way, and I wear my Tennessee stuff, and I like the Pitt Panthers since I live up here. I like Penn State a little bit, not much, but just a little bit. But anytime, it's like Tennessee fan. A true Tennessee fan does not like Alabama. So it's this way. I like any team that plays against Alabama. So in this case, I like any team that plays against New England. So I don't want New England to win on Sunday, although I just don't see how they can get beat. The only way that I believe New England gets beat if Brady gets hurt. That's about the only thing that's going to stop New England this Sunday. I mean, they're just a tough team to beat. It's good to be the king of the hill sometimes, right? Anyway, so make a long story short, I feel like I was on my game on the week, but I was just taking way too many trades. I was going up against max daily loss, and so I'm in the third combine right now, and that I've started since the beginning. Well, since the last week of January, I think, and I finish up right now. My account balance says 30,735.28. So if you think of it this way, I'm $735.28 up. My target right now obviously is that $1,500 mark, so 31.5 in the combine, and I'm where I need to be. Let's see if I can play smarter next week and get to where I need to be and move on into FTP and get into funded. And for the fifth time, when I do get into funded, but this time stay in it. So I'm looking at trying to get the combine level in 10 days up to at least $2,000. Same thing with FTP. So that by the time I get to funded, I'm accustomed to making 2,000, not just getting to 1,500. I want to get to that $2,000 mark. Ideally, I want to be in 10 trading days. I'd like to get up to 2,500. So obviously, I'll accept the 1,500, and then I'll just take the extra days to get to 2,500. But my plan right now, if the trades are obviously available, so that means I need a home run in there and a couple, or at least a couple triples and a couple of about 4 or 5 doubles to get to where I need, or 10 singles to get to where I need right now. So that's how I look at it. Hope you have a great weekend. I am putting together the finishing touches of my VTS strategy, the volume tick study, and I'm looking to put together a webinar series probably in March right now, and going over 4 weeks of a span of time, most likely in March, and just show you kind of inside the scenes here of how I approach the market. Now, I do want to say this, that if you've listened this far and this long, I do appreciate all the feedback, and even from self-anointed master trader, I enjoy the feedback that he gives me as well. It's kind of a love-hate relationship with him and I guess. More love than hate, though. It pisses me off. I guess everyone likes to beat me when I'm down, and not everybody, but some people like to beat me when I'm down. But I know it's in good measure that I know that we're all struggling. And if you say you're not struggling at times, you're a liar. I honestly believe that. Unless you're an automatic, systematic trader, if you're a discretionary trader, there's no such thing as a system. There's a trading plan that you try to implement, but trying to be perfect to that plan is obviously our goal each and every day that we're trading as a day trader. It's a lot easier to be automatic, systematic when you're swing and positional trading, and a little bit harder in a day trading environment, because every day is a brand new day, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is it's a fresh new day. The bad thing is that the market might have already moved before you start getting involved in the market. So recognizing, like another trader said to me, I can't think of the dude's name right now, but he had some good points about recognizing what the longer term time frame was telling you. He also runs a video blog and does some videos too. I might give him a shout out on one of these new videos that I've been looking at. By the way, Jim Trades has got some good stuff that he's doing. Lifestyle Trader Brian is doing some really cool stuff as well. Give him some love out there. Give those guys some love. They're really, trying to put some stuff together right now. Their minds are in the right places, and their hearts are where they need to be. Let's just give each other feedback and keep each other moving. If there's anyone else that has that video blog going, let me know. I'll give a shout out to you guys. I mean, there's a lot of dudes out here that's doing a hell of a lot better than I am, right? Just like I said, I'm just that stepping stone sometimes. And some of the ways that I look at, maybe this one thing that you'll see from me and you implement might be the difference between taking you over that hump right now. Because really, when I look back at my trading, I just look back at picking up bits and pieces of different things like Van Tharp and the R, and then implementing P, and then Gann to hit profit targets and angles, and the Gann fan that I talk about inside the video itself. If you watch the trading video, I actually go in a lot of detail on that video today over on the blog on how you can interpret the Gann fan and how to interpret how Gann used his golden ratio or golden number, how he used that in his trading to be able to hit numbers and targets that he was hunting for. Wyckoff, or Wyckoff, I'll keep saying Wyckoff, but that's not right. Richard Wyckoff, and the way he interpreted volume, the guy that really took his stuff forward is Tom Williams, and he's since passed away. Larry Williams and the percent R, I do keep my eyes on that at times. It's still a lagging indicator. All indicators are lagging, so you have to actually imagine what that indicator is looking like into the moving forward. So a lot of times when you're taking a trade on an indicator, it's after the fact it looks right. You're like, oh yeah, it makes sense right now. But when you're under the gun, that indicator may or may not be showing a correct signal and the correct entry. So, but a lot of times the percent R, Williams percent R, does verify trade. So when I look back at it and I say, am I in a right position? The percent R is going to tell me yes or no when I do enter into a trade. It kind of is verification of a trade for me. Using the 1, 2, 3 Ralph Nelson Elliott, and most recently the guy that I would say that utilizes it, that concept is Joe Ross from Trading Educators. So, giving some love out. Larry Williams, I really trade.com, and Joe Ross, Trading Educators. Van Tharp, tradingeducators.com for Joe Ross. Van Tharp, he runs his company is called vantharp.com. That might be one of the things that I did this a long time ago. I don't know if you can see that. His peak performance course. I usually go through that every other year. I'm in volume 2. There's 5 volumes of his original peak performance course. So the second volume is in stress. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now, the stress. So every so often I dust out the old stuff, and because there's nothing wrong with the old stuff. It's just interpreting the old stuff to help you apply things into today's environment. Listen to wrap this conversation up today, the Friday conversation that I like to do here. I was listening to Nebraska and Eddie and the Top Step Trader squawk room, or whatever they call that room. And it was good to listen to In the Know today, and I do feel that Top Step Trader have made some moves to help into the funded trader status, to help us not worry about that zero line. That's kind of been a huge hang up. And granted, everyone has their opinion about Top Step Trader, but I do believe that they're in it to make money and get the combine fees and all that crap that goes with that. I understand that. But they do pay. So people ask me that, do they pay? And I say, yes, they do pay. So it's a very strict set of rules that you put yourself under to be at Top Step. So just, but some of us need that discipline, just like I talked about in the very beginning of this video. Some of us need that discipline and before we break out on our own. So hopefully that discipline and that patience and those rules, when we do break out on our own and open up our own account, we are taking that knowledge and implementing it in the real world futures trading account. So, and those that are trading real futures accounts, God bless you guys out there and gals. You keep the rest of us honest. I take grief over, doing this and doing that and charging stuff. But you know what? Hey, the Bible talks about a laborer worth his wages. So I'm okay with what I'm doing if to an extent, you know, but it's okay to call me out like you guys do. But nothing's going to stop me from charging some dollars to feed my family on the long run, as long as it takes to get to where I need to go. So should I get paid for my time? Well, I would say yes. I believe that I'm worthy of being paid because I might be over where you are at. I'm not saying I'm over all of you, So a lot of you guys are further along than I am, even though I've been in trading for 30 years. I've only been in day trading not that long. So my experience comes from positional and swing trading and then trying to apply. And my original was a hedger. I was a hedge trader to start with, hedging positions on using futures against what our portfolio managers had. So it's a different whole ball of wax. I can't use any of that information in day trading. I can interpret what I believe the people in the know are doing. So that's kind of how I use it now, is that I'm watching what the in the know people or the guys that are moving the markets. I'm trying to watch the volume spike. So that's where the knowledge and my information, I think that's where my strength is right now, is determining where the market could be making a turn, either an upturn or a downturn. I believe, and I'm obviously pretty much trying to catch some in the middle, either some of the middle going up or some of the middle going down. And a lot of us, that's exactly what we try to do, right? We're all trying to interpret what we believe the middle is on a move. The middle of a move, trying to catch the bottom and trying to catch the top of a move, those are tough places to trade, right? So a lot of times the bottom can be further down, so it can break through that bottom and keep going. So trying to catch a bottom is like catching a falling knife, and trying to catch a top sometimes, it just keeps going up and up and up. But once it does make that turn, there's some strong moves that happen in between there. So what I say is trying to catch the middle. And there's actually 4 different areas that you're trading, right? Well, I guess you've got 5 really. You have the middle area where it could be moving up and moving down. You have the bottom area that eventually it makes a bottom and then goes up. You have the bottom, though, that fails and goes down. You have the top, and then you have the down, and then you have the top, and the top that fails and goes up that makes a higher high. So there's 5 different areas, I guess. And then the 6th is pretty much where the market is most of the time, is in the doldrums of not moving. So staying out of the market and keeping your ammo protected and not using it when the market. So it's been said, I don't know who said it to start with, but the market doesn't trend 85% of the time. Whether that's true, whether that's not, I don't know. So if you interpret that data out, that means the market is trending only 15% of the time. So what does that mean? That means 85% of the time you should be out of the market. So you should be resting, doing something else. And does that mean 15% of a 24-hour period? Does that mean 15% of a 3-hour period? What does it mean? I don't know. You have to determine what that means to you. But what it does mean to me is that roughly 90% of the time, I should not be in the market trading. I should only be in the market roughly 10% of the time. The market. So keep that in mind. And that is some of the ground foundational knowledge that sometimes I forget, that it's better to be out of the market. And there's 3 different positions, right? You're either long, you're short, or you're out of the market. Being out of the market is still a position because you have chosen not to be in a position. So when you have decided not to be in the market, you are not losing money. You're also not making money, but more importantly, you're not losing money. So that's the more important thing of being out of the market. And you should be out of the market, let's just say 85 to 90% of the time as a day trader. You should not be in the market. Now, swing trading and positional trading is a completely different ball of wax because you're monitoring your position behind it. You may be in the market, but are you adding a new position? That there's all kinds of whole different realm as that relates, and that's out of the scope of what I do right now here at 123daytrade.com. Now, that's 30 minutes of me talking. I was keeping my eyes on the 30-minute mark. I figured I would just bullshit with you for 30 minutes like I did 50 minutes last Friday, and I did 30 minutes today. So I've been telling you, this is the book I'm reading right now as just to calm the mind. Murder mysteries. Um, um, what's this called? This is called, there's a name for it. Not side murder mystery. It's called, um, uh, don't know. Can't think of the name. Along those lines, I'm reviewing some things here. The Bible obviously is a top of my thing. This is one of Joe Ross's books. I'm looking through it for the who knows how many times. This is one of the books I'm reading and looking through. I'm going through the Peak Performance course right now currently. Usually have an audio tape that I'm listening to. The audio tape that I have is in my car. I always like to read on the Civil War, so I've got Mort Kunstler has got some books out with his pictures, so I usually have something going on. So I guess this is my comic relief when I'm in a position and I need to keep my fingers away from the trigger finger. Then I'm picking up something to read. So find something to read, find something to do with your time. Try to stay away from, obviously you're monitoring and managing your position, but you got to be careful about over trading is what I'm getting at, right? So that seems to be more times than not what stops a lot of us from being successful is the over trading area that we use. So taking too many trades, and I'm probably the most guiltiest of them all when it comes to over trading in the day. I can manage a winning trade probably better than 98% of the public out there right now. But when I'm in a losing position and taking losses, I'm not so good at that. So I know where my work is. I know where I have to work inside me is that patient, that disciplined, and when I do have a losing day, cutting it off and saying, you know what, live the fight another day. Like I'm so used to saying on my blog, sometimes that's kind of the hardest thing to do when you got just it's easy to run $500 loss. A 50 tick loss in the crude oil futures market is very easy to do inside a day. I mean, you think, wow, that seems like a while away, $500, but when you start accumulating losses, if you're not careful, at least in the way I look at it, it's like dominoes falling over. It's like boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, you're up against it. When if you just would have been a little bit more patient in your trading and just a little bit more waiting for that trade to happen, you'd have had that one extra trade. And that's kind of the way it's been with me more times than not as a day trader. If I had that one more trade, the woulda, shoulda, coulda side of the business, right? We all can see where we should have been in a trade in hindsight. All of us. Every one of us that knows anything about trading can look back at the market and say, well, if I would have done this, then I would have been here and therefore this would have happened. We're all in that same boat. So we can all do woulda, shoulda, coulda in our life. So my challenge to myself and also to those that are watching me is to be more patient and more disciplined next week in your trading. All right. We'll see you next week sometime. Have a great weekend. Go Falcons. Beat the Patriots. And I'll see you on the next time I talk to you. God bless. Take care. And I'll see you on the next video I put together. Bye for now.